clock start ticking.
Wait, let me leave.
Hello, I'm Dr. Clifford Houston. I'm Professor Emeritus in Microbiology and Immunology at the University of Texas Medical Branch. I'm also the faculty ombudsperson. I'd like to talk to you today on a topic entitled The Benefits of Preparing an Innovative and Diverse Scientific Workforce. And I'm going to do that from the perspectives of NIH, NASA, and the American Society for Microbiology. When I was growing up in Oklahoma City, I lived in a all Black community. It was brand new. And what's interesting, it was brand new and built specifically for African Americans. At that time, we were happy to go and be part of that in terms of buying a new house in that community. And I ended up going to school at Garden Oaks Elementary School, which was actually, of course, all African American. When I decided to really bear down and concentrate on my schooling, I really began to excel. I received a number of different honors, was a part of the Honor Society, and really made good grades. Here's a picture of my parents. My father had an 8th grade education and my mother had a high school education, but they always reminded me to try to go as far as I could in terms of education. They truly valued education. And I say this to you because as I became a professor, I wanted to make sure that young people coming up had a better chance to advance than when I was coming along. And so I want to talk to you a little bit about the biomedical sciences and research at UTMB. As a faculty member, I had a chance to do all different types of work in microbiology, but I specifically was a bacteriologist. And but with the viruses and the fungi and all of the other elements of microbiology, I chose to focus on bacteriology. And I spent my entire career working on the impact of extracellular products produced by bacteria and what roles they may have in the pathogenesis of disease. Once I became a tenured professor, I had an opportunity to go into administration, and I was appointed the Associate Vice President for Educational Outreach. So here I am in my office in the administration building, which overlooked the campus, which had hospitals as well as other research facilities. While being an administrator at UTMB, I had an opportunity to spend a 2-year stint at NASA headquarters in Washington, D.C. And I was an assistant associate deputy director in the Office of Education there. And we developed programs that could be extended across the nation for investing in our young people. Because I really felt that an investment in our young people was an investment, truly an investment in the future. And so here I'm on the KC-135A turbojet transport, which is a plane designed to create zero gravity conditions. And so what you see here in the photograph is me in a weightless state in this airplane, being assisted by someone who's holding my leg. And the experiment that we were doing is bolted to the floor. And so what I'm doing is working on the experiment while being weightless. You float around, it's a euphoric feeling, and there's nothing like it. And it just is an example of what it feels like to be in outer space. So one of the things that I learned early on is that if we're going to have a future workforce, we're going to have to create that by cultivating the students early in science and technology and engineering and mathematics. And we've got to figure out a way to expose our students to that at an early age so that they will then be viable in the workforce. And so that's why it's important to do these things like science education at two different levels. One is at the student level, but we also have to focus on the teacher level in order to produce more students coming out the pipeline. Because one teacher will impact hundreds of students each year and perhaps thousands over the course of their career. And that's going to be an important element of creating a future workforce that mirrors the population that it serves. One of the things that we did in the Office of Educational Outreach was to develop centers. What we had was a Southeast Regional T-STEM Center, in which we received funding for, but we also had money from Howard Hughes Medical Institute to support biology and biotechnology and nanotechnology workshops for teachers. We had a beginning teacher induction and mentoring grant to support programs, as well as the Galveston County Regional Collaborative Grant that supported science and math and computer information that could be given to teachers. Here are the different collaboratives or entities that we collaborated with, which included NASA, but the Howard Hughes Medical Institute, other universities like Rice University, Moody Gardens, for example, or Space Center Houston. These were all part of our collaborative effort to bring the most realistic experiences for our students, K through 12 students. So the Office of Educational Outreach in its Southeast Regional Texas STEM Center had all kinds of different expertise that we brought to the students, such as biotechnology, biomedicine, engineering design, biodefense, just numbers of different kinds of exposure that you don't find in the traditional classroom. Our teacher professional development is something that was very important because we know that one teacher will impact hundreds of students each year and thousands over the course of the teacher's career. And that's the way that we think is a very effective, very efficient way of getting information to the students is through the professional development of our teachers. So here are a number of teachers that are learning some human anatomy and physiology in workshops for teachers. And we had so many different workshops in different areas for our regional teachers. The biotechnology lessons for teachers were something that we did that really brought this kind of science back into the classroom through the teachers, and students then benefited from that. Because one of the things that our goal, our long range goal, is to try to produce a workforce that mirrors the population that it serves. So biotechnology was very important for the teachers during summer institutes. And so these teachers learned everything from spectrophotometry to all kinds of biological techniques. They learned computer science, and they took this back to the classrooms in a way that was very effective. One of the things that we also established was an educational resource center. There, through grants, I was able to, in my office, was able to pack this resource center with microscopes and balances and gel electrophoresis, all kinds of equipment that teachers don't have in the traditional classroom, that they could borrow and take to the classroom and then return so that other teachers could use it. And this was a very effective way of getting information out to students in the classroom. The STEM Educational Conference was a very excellent conference. It was like 2.5 days, and usually it was at Moody Gardens. And one of the things that we could do was to leverage Howard Hughes support with other types of grants to make sure that we are distributing not only the knowledge to teachers, but also various equipment that is then taken back to the classroom. We also had a virtual laboratory each year, a conference for that. And here in this particular photo, you're seeing both myself and Dr. Sonye, who is my director of the programs, presenting to a new online virtual lab experience that for teachers. And so another conference was a STEM conference that we did every year, a STEM education conference. And we knew that the impact would be great back in the classroom. So that's why we invested in teacher education, because we know that that's the best way to impact many more students than students individually. However, we do both. We have both teacher-oriented experiences, but we also have student-oriented experiences, because we know it's very important that students have an opportunity to have hands-on experiences as well. But if the teachers are motivated, they'll pass that on to the students in the classroom, and that's very invaluable. So speaking of students, I remember, just like this little boy, of being in the backyard and watching ants climb up a blade of grass, holding something that was several times its own body weight, and wondering how could that ant do that. And it's this kind of curiosity that I think will impact students when they're in science, and will encourage them to be more active in the classroom as a result of that curiosity. This is Dr. Marguerite Sonye, who is my director of our education programs. And she's given a demonstration of what electrostatic forces will actually do to your hair. And lots of questions were generated as a result of that experience for teachers. What we designed was an interconnecting pipeline of student programs. There, from pre-kindergarten all the way up to the 12th grade. And we found that these programs directly to students was a really good way to provide experience, such as our Saturday Biomedical Science Academy, where teachers or students get a chance to actually learn about all kinds of things, such as looking at polymer chemistry, as well as looking at ways in which students can just do all kinds of things like DNA isolation, antibiotics and bacteria. They can study them and understand the role and function of antibiotics where microorganisms are concerned. To understand more advanced studies, we have our Camp 2, where students are isolating buccal cells from the gums and doing work with it, or building a bridge and with popsicle sticks to show the physical dynamic that's involved in building bridges. Students really were excited about this kind of thing. And then we had our summer research program for high school students, where they actually worked in an individual faculty member's laboratory. And here we can see students working individually in laboratories under the mentoring of graduate students and professors. At the end of that program, we had a poster session. And this is where students had an opportunity to defend their work against our faculty members. And it's amazing how much confidence that builds in students to be able to defend the work that they've done during the summer when questioned by university faculty members. Expanding Your Horizon is a conference specifically for girls, and is a conference that shares with girls experiences that is found in clinics and in the hospitals. And it really exposes careers to nursing and to other kinds of professions that would girls as well as guys would be very much interested in. Our Pathfinders program was also a career-oriented program. And as you can see, the students learned a lot from the mannequins, as well as learned a number of different clinical aspects to the work. Also, our biomedical and health career summer program is a good way for students to learn. And you can see that the students are engaged in looking at a human brain and understanding the function of that brain. So you see here are students doing several different things. Some things are in the hospital, some things are outside, but they're doing all kinds of ways to learn about science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and how it all comes together. The impact of these programs was that 74% of the participants became STEM majors in college, and 66% said that it influenced, the experience influenced their career choice. And 31% said that programs had been to more than one program, and that's really significant as well. The last thing that I want to talk about is our annual biomedical research conference for minority students called Abracams. I helped to develop that conference, and it's focused at the undergraduate and graduate level. And here we get speakers from around the country to come and talk to these college students. And we provide faculty mentors and advisors, as well as other program leaders, as a resource for these students. It's really a dynamic conference that's grown for over the years. Here I am giving a welcoming mark to the students. You can see how packed the audience is. We've had great diversity among our participants, and majority are African-American, Hispanic. But and the thing about it is, this is open to all races of students. We have several different careers and disciplines that are involved. That's part of that. And it has been an absolute pleasure to be a part of helping the students. So I think with that, I'm going to stop, because I think my time is up, and I sure appreciate it. Thank you.